guys, Tactical.
Nicole Sauce. Look, we're in the same place at the same time.
Oh, it's so
Check it
surprising
out.
right now.
Yeah, aren't we usually like distance?
Yes, we have been for a long time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was thinking about this the other day when I was making one of the other Culture Clash videos, and like, I've got my perspective on it, but I thought it would be really interesting to get your perspective on watching me go through the transition of actually getting out of the military after spending over a decade and a half doing that.
Yes. You want my perspective now?
Yeah.
Do I have to tell the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's interesting watching a friend come back into abnormal society from the military. And I think the first thing I noticed, so when you got word that the change was happening, you went into what I would call hyper production mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't stop. You just kept going. And I was a little worried you were going to burn yourself out, but then you started, as things lined out and it became clear what was happening, you did something really cool, and you planned to arrive at a time where you could surprise your mom.
Mm-hmm.
So you were taking care of the emotional part. And as we know, he's really good with dealing with emotions, right?
We're ignoring them. Ignoring their existence.
And I've worked with a lot of people, helping them integrate from one culture to another, just by going to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically doing the equivalent of moving to another country, even though it's a country you grew up in.
Yeah.
And as I said, we have an abnormal society. So he comes back, and the first thing I hear is, "Oh my God, I just saw what was in this woman's cart at Walmart. I can't believe people eat like that."
That was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like 18 liters of like Coke products.
Yeah. And I think that's fun, but I think from an emotional standpoint, the other thing I've seen you realize is that you're not surrounded by people who will go out of their way to help you all the time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were before.
Yeah.
And I don't think you liked that.
Yeah.
But when you got here, you did something that I think was good. So I think there was a real risk you would get through the family integration, come here where you were landing, and then like you've just done all the busy transition, you've just come back, I mean, it's peaceful here, right?
Yeah.
And this was your biggest risk, to go into that spiral where you just become unmotivated to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you did quite the opposite. You woke up with a purpose every day, and you helped me with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But you made sure you kept yourself busy, and I think that was good, although now, and when you were here first, you were like, you weren't focusing very well.
Yeah.
And then probably 4 days in, when shit got real about the workshop,
Yeah.
you were like, I got this. And you focused and you started prioritizing. It was like a switch went off. And ever since then, you've been more purpose-driven, and you seem to have your focus back, or your mind back. But for when you were first here, you were just kind of like running around, and there was too much stimulation for a while.
Yeah. It definitely was the case.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just the nature of my workshop, or if that was just like...
No, it's something that I noticed like the first week and a half or so. Like, I had been in a go mode trying to get everything lined up to come back, and yeah, I don't really know how to describe that, but it was just like scatterbrain.
Yeah. That's what it was. And I haven't seen you scatterbrain very much.
No.
Ever. So, I think it was, I don't know what switched that made you kind of go back to, okay, this is what I'm doing.
I mean, would you pointed this out in another video that, you know, this is one of the places I come because I can relax. And I think that first couple of days was probably my time to wind down. And then once the next mission kicked in, it was like, okay, it's go time again. Yeah, and I think, like, from here, your risk is, because you're used to having a mission, what do you do if you don't have a mission? Yeah. So, I mean, I think, and I have talked about that in other videos, that I think it is important that you have to find a balance of keeping yourself productive as well as, like, having some downtime.
Yeah. So what did we do yesterday?
Yesterday we went kayaking.
Yesterday we had this whole idea we'd do some videos, all this other stuff going on. Mark comes in, he's like, hey, you guys want to go kayaking? And we're like, yeah, screw everything, and went kayaking. And that goes back to the balance between downtime, because, like, I think your big risks right now, there are two things. If you have too much downtime, then all there is to do is sit around and drink beer and smoke cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
If you don't get enough downtime, what's going to happen is you're going to wear yourself out, and then your body will force you to have downtime. And so since you've gotten back, you've just been running the whole time. I haven't seen you take any time off.
Yeah.
So when are you taking time off?
What, next week?
Next week? Oh, really? What are you doing tomorrow?
Leaving for Hog Roast.
So he's been going from friends to friends to friends. The other thing I've noticed is you are a service-minded person. And so you came back and you're doing service to others. Are you letting people do service for you?
I think that's what I'm letting you do.
Okay, so I can cook for you. What else do I do for you? Coffee. There's a bug biting my arm.
Yeah.
That hurt. So remember that when people want to do things for you, that's okay too.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, when I got up this morning, I was kind of noticing I was still, like, even after yesterday, I was still just exhausted from the last couple of weeks.
Dragging butt.
Yeah.
That's the proper term.
Yeah.
So he's got to take a day off. And you got to remember to do that.
So, what else?
What else? Is there something else I want to say? I'm trying to be nice about the emotional part.
Go for it. It's a real part of it.
So when you first got here, I shouldn't rock like that on video because it's going to make them seasick. These chairs rock. Yeah.
I like these chairs.
Yeah,
though.
they're really comfortable, but bouncing on video is not good. So, you seemed hurt when you got here. And I don't think most people would have noticed it. And since that time, you seem less hurt.
Yeah.
You're probably still hurt, though.
And I think that's largely just to do to the nature of the way that, well, just put it bluntly, I was basically forced out. And to add in leaving that family that I've always known. So yeah, you kind of feel like a part of your soul died. So,
You got your new family.
Yep. So, and I am deeply appreciative to you for everything that you've done for me.
Your family. I'd do it for you anytime.
Yep.
Hopefully we don't have to do that again, though. That sucked. So now he's got all the logistics of getting his crap wherever it may be.
Yeah. It's gonna be after next weekend. There's that, so
yeah,
it's gonna be a pain.
Just eat the frog. He needs to eat the frog.
You might have to explain what that means.
So when I'm planning my day and there's something on my list I don't want to do, and I had something on my list today that I didn't want to do, and I had it on my list yesterday and the day before, like for 5 days. And so we were going to do this video, and I'm like, that's fine, I'm eating a frog, just let me know when you're done, because I'm working on this thing. And he's like, what does that mean? And eating the frog is like, just do the thing so you don't have to think about it anymore, and the unpleasantness is behind you. So you don't like bureaucracy much.
No.
And it's much more fun for him to spend his time thinking about this project we might be working on together soon, or thinking about going to a hog roast and having really good food and fun with friends, or going on, you're going to go on a kayak trip, right?
Hopefully here soon.
Or training his dog, or, taking out poop buckets, anything but calling in to talk about this issue, which it involves bureaucracy. So that's something that's been on his list for like 3 days, and he needs to eat the frog.
Yeah.
So
in the military, we just say embrace the suck, but
yeah,
I need to embrace the suck.
You do need to embrace the suck, just like I was doing.
Yep.
See if you can make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealing with these people is always fun.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Right before this, I had an interview scheduled for my podcast with another vet.
Yeah.
And he's putting together a retreat for vets to help transition, because it's not unusual that that you're like, I don't quite fit in, and then the emotional part of feeling like you've lost a family. And I was looking forward to talking to him about that before doing this, because I was going to hear some of his perspectives. He's been out for a while, also a Marine.
Nice.
So, also interesting stories from that time.
Yeah.
And he's dedicated his life to helping others transition better so they don't end up... Because I think the biggest thing that scares me when somebody comes out of a career, or like that whole... It's more than a career, right?
Yes.
It's a way of life. If you don't take care of yourself, you end up being that crazy guy ranting on the street, and not you specifically, but one could, and that's because if you don't give yourself a chance to feel the things you need to feel, or to say the F you and then let it go sort of thing, I think it really just bottles up and eventually explodes. So he's putting together that retreat. We've got another guy in Tennessee that's working with another lodge to do the same thing. It's interesting how that's all coming together. And then where do you go for your peacetime?
Here.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because when I was in Missouri the other day, there's a guy down the street doing the exact same thing. So that's 3 that are going up.
Yeah. And I think there's something there. I also think the network you've chosen here is... They're kind of the same kind of people who will give you the shirts off their back to help you.
And I mean, that was one of the things that's helped me a lot, is just already having a network of people that I know and I trust that I can come to. And I mean, it's already here, it's already established, so I had something to come back to.
And you always will.
Yep. Anything else?
Nope. It is cocktail hour.
Yeah.
I need to finish eating my frog.
Yeah. Should go do that.
I'm close.
Alright, guys. Well, till next time. Bye. No tagline?
Make it a great week.